Pekarsik joins us now, who has an absolutely wonderful piece in Real Clear Defense. Always love when we can get anti-CCP content in mainstream publications talking about hidden Huawei's, which I love that term, not just because of the alliteration, but the ideas that you're going through here and the sort of actionable roadmap of what the Trump administration can do. Can you sort of walk us through your piece, your suggestions, and what exactly a hidden Huawei is?
Absolutely, Natalie. And it nests completely in the framing that you just offered, that as we find the problem actors and we try to take our whack-a-mole approach to addressing them, whether they're from the CCP or elsewhere, they find a way to rebrand, to burrow themselves into supply chains deeper. And that's what we're trying to explain with the hidden Huawei concept. So we know that ZTE and Huawei are threats. They're threats that are unacceptable to U.S. national security because they're touching critical infrastructure, data, and telecommunications networks. And we've done work. The first Trump administration and the second administration have done a valiant effort to clear our networks from those actors. They've been able to rebrand themselves, and they've been able to bring supply chains that don't carry the same labels into the American marketplace, into products that might otherwise look or be labeled as something that might be friendly or even American. And this all works alongside China's broader economic warfare strategy, which intends to penetrate our networks, intends to penetrate our market, and to get closer and closer with their access and their capacity to disrupt our operations. So hidden Huawei's are touching everything from the telecommunications networks and routers that Huawei and ZTE presented threats in, to the Wi-Fi hotspots that you might be using in your home and their analogs in industrial and enterprise fixed wireless access equipment. And as you highlighted just in the preamble here, Trump's FCC has been taking new efforts to understand and to address these threats. And we're looking to folks like Chairman Brendan Carr to continue that campaign and to understand the broad swath of the supply chain that these hidden Huawei's are attacking, and to make sure that Americans are protected in their homes with their Wi-Fi hotspots, and to make sure that the wireless networks that you might join when you're at the airport or in a shopping mall aren't going to expose your personal data and the operations that depend on those networks functioning to the threat that the Chinese Communist Party presents.
Well, and especially we're at economic warfare with everything they're doing on the rare earths front. I think there's probably no better time being a prime example of when we shouldn't have these companies embedded, certainly in our, technical infrastructure grid. But I'm sure the audience's heads are blowing up. They want to make sure that their homes, their devices are not reliant on any of these companies, these services. Can you maybe give us an example of either what the Trump administration has done to combat this, specifically what they need to do, or what exactly some of these companies are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think part of the problem here is that some of these companies are creating the modules and chipsets that go inside of devices. So they might not be obvious from the brand label or from the telecommunications carrier that you're working with that you have a piece of equipment that might be compromised. So the first challenge is that the Trump administration, I think the FCC has already taken steps to be able to do this, to expand their reach to make sure that they can account for component supply chains. So not just finished equipment, but also the insides of this equipment that really are where the threats may emerge and how they'll persist, even if we do a valiant effort of combating the Huawei's and ZTE's and smaller companies that are throughout the smaller component supply chains. But beyond that, I think we need to look to the FCC and to the corresponding national security enterprise to validate that these supply chains are at risk and to take actions to ban their capacity to sell into the U.S. market, either at the component level or at the original equipment manufacturer level. And we just had a case with routers where the Texas Attorney General has brought a case against TP-Link, I think is the company that they singled out. But I think it's a category that is rife with Chinese-backed, Chinese-influenced, Chinese-dependent actors that pose a severe threat to our supply chain and to personal data.